Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Jujutsu Kaisen. Unlock the 8 secret arts at the start. Chapter 6. At the moment when the cursed spirit of the arm attacked, Ryuiki's palm made a strange gesture invisible, so fast that if it weren't for Gojo Satoru's natural 6 eyes, it would be almost impossible to detect. At the moment when the gesture was over, with Ryuiki as the center, everything around was instantly refined into a cursed tool by a wonderful power, including dust and particles. The powerful cursed tool directly shreds the cursed spirit at the moment it took shape, and the horror curse power hidden in the cursed spirit's body was absorbed by Ryuiki's 6 immortal thief treasury. Can the quasi-level cursed spirit only increase the progress by 2%? Ryuiki looked at the system panel, and the progress of 6 immortal thief treasury had increased from 10% to 12%, frowning slightly. According to his understanding of the system, the difficulty of unlocking the progress of the 8 stunts is an increasing gesture. When absorbing the first few level 4 cursed spirits, each one can increase its progress by 1%, but as the progress of 6 immortal thief treasury increases to 5%, the 5 level 4 cursed spirits can only increase by 100%. 1 part. Unexpectedly, it is even more extreme now. A second-level Jujutsu Master's curse power can only be increased by %, while the semi-first level cursed spirit can only be increased to 2%. It seems that getting the 6 immortal thief treasury to full schedule is much more difficult than divine armament 100 refinements. That's the first level cursed tool, right? Gojo Satoru's cold voice reminded Ryuiki from deep thought. He rubbed his eyebrows. He didn't want to hide in front of Gojo Satoru. After all, under the pair of heavenly pupils, everything was invisible. But Ryuiki suddenly thought of Feng Chi Men, the strangest and most mysterious in 8 mysterious arts. Covering the changes in Zhou Tian, turning me into a king. Among the strange gates, I am the position, and I am the good or bad. Whether time and space can be distorted in a strange game, whether it can resist Gojo Satoru's unrestricted warlock, Ryuiki suddenly has some expectations. Pong. Gojo Satoru jumped off the platform, leaving a few afterimages in the air. He appeared on the opposite side of Ryuiki in the blink of an eye. Creating a cursed tool in an instant, and arbitrarily punching curse into all the surrounding objects, this kind of jujutsu completely violates common sense. After casting sunglasses, Gojo Satoru looked at Ryuiki curiously. The magical power made him feel very interesting. Cursed tool, as the name implies, is a tool that is subject to curse. Every powerful cursed tool has a little-known past, but the cursed tool in Ryuiki's hands is completely different. In his hands, everything in the world can be given curse power and become a powerful cursed tool. Even a leaf can be instantly refined into a top-level cursed tool comparable to the second level or even the first level cursed spirit. This is the power of divine armament 100 refinements. Contrary to common sense. According to you, your 6 eyes are the most contrary to common sense, right? Ryuiki rolled his eyes and looked at Gojo Satoru with a weird smile. This guy is good at everything. Whether it is character, strength, or the tacit understanding of being a friend, he is the best choice, but this headache character makes people a little uncomfortable. Ha ha ha. It makes sense, it makes sense. I really want to know now, if Zenon's family understands your current strength, what will it be like? That old guy's face will probably be greenish. Gojo Satoru laughed, and then a flash appeared next to Ryuiki. Hooking his arms around Ryuiki. Zenon's family. I owe a good impression to that family. If they continue to provoke me, it will be a little troublesome. Ryuiki gave a sneer. Although he didn't say it thoroughly, the terrible killing intent was scary. Feeling the murderous aura of his best friend, Gojo Satoru's cynical smile on his face also secretly reduced. The current you are not enough to fight against the entire Zenon family. If your abilities are known by people with ulterior motives, it will cause a lot of trouble. Gojo Satoru's tone was a bit serious for the first time. As one of his few friends, Ryuiki still cherishes it very much. So I put forward my own opinions from the bottom of my heart. Woo, you know me, I'm lazy, too lazy to cover up, and too lazy to avoid, so. Ryuiki's long, ink-like hair suddenly disappeared automatically, and a shuddering chill flashed across his silver-white eyes, and the corners of his mouth pulled upwards in a cruel arc. Whether it is Zenon or Jujutsu, everything is good, everything that stands in front of me will be destroyed. The voice fell, and Gojo Satoru seemed to see his best friend's face clearly for the first time, like an everlasting stone Buddha, cruel and compassionate. Ha 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 ha. Gojo Satoru laughed suddenly, and his hand on Ryuiki's shoulder was even harder. That's right, you are Zenin Ryuiki, and we are the strongest. Hearing Gojo Satoru's words, Ryuiki's heart warmed. How lucky to have such a friend. Sorrow, don't you think it is embarrassing to say this? Where is it? I'm just telling the truth. The two stood side by side and walked out. Under the white moonlight, the shadows of the two of them were getting farther and farther away. Gojo Satoru's eyes hidden behind the sunglasses were a bit playful, and he glanced vaguely at the ground of the factory. On the other hand, Ryuiki had a smile that was not a smile, in a daze, like an evil spirit, showing his fangs. A moment after the two left, a very weak curse slowly emerged. The magician who made the cursed tool in an instant, interesting, a cold voice slowly sounded, and then gradually disappeared quickly and silently. Chapter 7. Well, do you want to go to Jujutsu High School with me? Gojo Satoru was sitting on the sofa, knocking on Erlang's legs, and eating the cakes Ryuiki bought by himself. On TV, the news is being broadcast, the collapse of the construction site, and the ignorant media are hyping the theory of ghosts and gods. Ryuiki leaned listlessly on the sofa, holding a can of Coke that had just been opened, pouring it into his mouth one after another, and replied. Forget it, I really can't be interested in a place like a school. Ryuiki shrugged his shoulders, and Jujutsu High School also heard about it. However, after rebirth, he has to go to be controlled by others and join a school. Ryuiki is really lacking in interest in this kind of thing. And the old guys in the academy are stubborn, their abilities come from the system, they are too special, and the guys who can only hide in the dark or under the same roof. It is really unreasonable. Although he is not afraid of those guys, there is no need to cause trouble. Even if he does not join Jujutsu College, Ryuiki, who has 8 mysterious arts, is confident that one day he will stand on top of the world. Even with the man next to him who was later called invincible, Ryuiki is confident that he will stand shoulder to shoulder with him in the future, and will not fall behind. Hearing Ryuiki's answer, Gojo Satoru was not surprised at all. After all, based on his knowledge of Ryuiki, he had no intention of joining Jujutsu College. If the other party agrees, then he will be really surprised. Okay, but your environment is really good. Is Zenin's generous enough? Gojo Satoru took off his sunglasses and looked around with interest. At this moment, the two of them are in a sea view room with an area of several hundred square meters. Inside the house, all kinds of facilities are readily available, and the paintings on the walls are also very elegant. At first glance, they are made by famous artists. No wonder Gojo Satoru is curious. Although he doesn't know how many houses like this there are. As the future owner of the Gojo family, his assets are unimaginable, but as the abandoned son of the Zenin family, Zenin Ryuiki was able to live in such a valuable sea view house, which was totally inconsistent with the old stubborn temper of the Zenin family. In that family, people without jujutsu can hardly get the slightest supply. What's more, Ryuiki has now completely disconnected from Zenin's house. It has nothing to do with Zenin's house. Is this house my reward? Ryuiki rolled his eyes and took out a business card from his pocket and threw it at Gojo Satoru. Whoosh. Just throwing it at random, the business card made a sound of breaking through the sky. Flew towards Gojo Satoru at an extremely fast speed. Gojo Satoru didn't lift his head, his slender fingers seemed to sway slightly, leaving a few afterimages in the air. The business card was already sandwiched between his fingers. House of Everything. Gojo Satoru looked at the hand, and said 3 large characters on the extremely simple business card, and he could not help reading it out. You opened a house of everything. 2 years ago, after leaving Zenin's house, Ryuiki unlocked Divine Armament 100 refinements, and at the same time he could see the cursed spirit that he had been unable to see. At that time, Ryuiki, who was carrying only a few thousand yen, helped a victim inadvertently. The teeny cursed spirit-ridden grocery store owner received a large thank you. Since then, he has established a house of everything. While being able to obtain funds, while relying on solving cursed spirit can also improve their actual combat capabilities. This sea view room was the reward he got after helping a real estate agent in addition to the second level cursed spirit. His house of all things is a special existence that specializes in solving supernatural events. It is very famous in the small place of Shans, but the rules of Ryuiki are slightly different from other houses of all things. Yes. To resolve any supernatural incidents, set prices according to my mood, and no bargaining is allowed. The young man is not deceived. Ryuiki turned the Coke cans into a ball after drinking, and threw them into the trash can at the door, frivolously, looking at Gojo Satoru with a very strange smile. How about, do you want to think about it, join my house of everything? I still lack an assistant now. It sounds interesting, but the price is up to you. Isn't it a black shop? Even when Gojo Satoru heard Ryuiki's rules, he couldn't help but spit out a few black lines on his head. Road. Ryuiki pursed his lips, and said dissatisfied, why is it a black shop? Taking people money and people to eliminate disasters is something I want. You go and ask, who in the whole Shans doesn't know that I am the most conscientious owner of the house of all things? The whole Shans is like you, a house of everything, and this kind of thing is known by the Jujutsu Teachers Association. You are in trouble again. However, it looks pretty good, but Jujutsu High School is a certainty. After I graduate, I might come back to do a part-time job. Gojo Satoru got up suddenly, put his sunglasses on, moved his body slightly, and made a violent bean sound. Okay, then you should be more careful. I'll leave first, and feel free to contact me if I have anything. Besides, before Gojo Satoru's words fell, a curse appeared all over his body, and his figure had disappeared from the room, only the curtain on the windowsill swayed slightly. Your cake is not sweet enough. Cut. Don't you be afraid of getting fat after eating so many sweets. Ryuiki couldn't help but vomit. Chapter 8. At the same time, with the departure of Gojo Satoru, outside the window of the room, a dark blue curse wave gradually spread. The surrounding space trembled slightly. Sudden. In the midair, the curse power was all condensed together, and a strange skeleton appeared out of thin air. Under the action of the curse, he slowly floated in the air. The two holes in the eyes braved a faint, weird flame. Exudes an unknown breath. Staring quietly into the room, lying on the sofa, Zenin Ryuiki seemed to be asleep. Target confirmed. You can act at any time. The skeleton's voice was very faint, and the ghost fire in his eyes slowly swayed. Although there is only one head, it carries an extremely terrifying curse power. Be careful, this guy is not easy. According to previous information, he has at least a level of quasi-level strength. A stern man's voice sounded beside skeleton. Heard this. It shouldn't have made any emotional bones, but it brought out a very humane ridicule. Don't worry, being able to create cursed tool is indeed an amazing technique, but it is far from enough to resist me. The monster from Gojo's family has gone far. Then, leave it to me. Good. Haha, kid, I hope you are more sensible. The ghost flames in skeleton's eyes are indefinite. Looking at Ryuiki in the room, it was like a beast staring at an innocent lamb. What? Suddenly the skeleton yelled in surprise. The ghost fire in his eyes was shocked and burned frantically. Now, Ryuiki, who was lying in the room, suddenly disappeared before his eyes. It can guarantee that he didn't even blink his eyes. Even if he wanted to blink, he didn't have eyes either. Ryuiki seems to have disappeared out of thin air. Did not leave the slightest wave of curse power. Impossible. It's here obviously. Pong. The window suddenly exploded into countless fragments, and the skeleton slowly floated into the room. The skull was wrapped in countless magical powers. Ghost spells tracking. Woo. Woo. With the skeleton as the center, the magical power of the faint blue outlines a mysterious pattern, and there are constant crying sounds like ghosts and wolves, coming out of it. But, a cold light suddenly appeared, and went straight to the skeleton to kill, a powerful force, accompanied by a burst of curse power. The flying knife appeared in front of the skeleton almost instantly. Damn it! Skeleton exclaimed. The patterns outlined by the curse force all around were shattered. The skeleton was able to escape the attack of flying knives in the air. But I don't know why. A strong sense of crisis arose in its heart. It seemed as if he was being stared at by a terrible beast. You've been watching it for a long time, there is a charge. Ryuichi's voice resounded with murderous intent. Behind the skeleton, his figure slowly emerged. The skeleton is like a rabbit that has encountered natural enemies. The head stopped stiffly in the air. Did not dare to move, nor dared to look back. It seems that there is a boundless abyss behind him, and only if it dares to look back, it will fall into the gloom that never sees the sun. This feeling, I will die. What is in this guy? Damn it! Skeleton screamed frantically in his heart. His body, condensed by curse power, felt threatened instinctively at this moment. From Ryuichi's body, he noticed that his mantra power was constantly being swallowed by others. Master Curse. Ryuichi grabbed the skull by the head. Mentioned in front of him with great interest. 6 Immortal Thief Treasury kept running, unceremoniously absorbing the curse power from the skeleton. Strange thing. Ryuichi murmured, looking at the skeleton who chose to play dead without saying a word. It felt strange for a while. 6 Immortal Thief Treasury can absorb all the curse power and transform it into its own power. From the body to the curse power, it will be continuously strengthened by the 6 Immortal Thief Treasury. But there is indeed a very strict condition for absorbing curse power. That is, no master. Whether it is Cursed Spirit or Jujutsu Master, if you want to use 6 Immortal Thief Treasury, you must defeat it. If you have to metaphorically, that is, treat everything that carries the power of the spell as a drink, and the conditions for use of 6 Immortal Thief Treasury are that it needs to be used. Unscrew the cap to drink the drink. And this strange thing in his hand is like a drink being poured into a cup. Just pick it up and drink it. If you continue to pretend to be dead, I don't mind draining you completely, trust me, I'm good at this kind of thing. Ryuichi shook the skeleton in his hand a few times, but he still didn't respond when he saw the opponent. There was a cruel smile at the corner of his mouth. As he said, he is a lazy person, so he is even less interested in playing with this thing. Hoo-hoo. He opened his mouth slightly, and the powerful devouring force appeared suddenly. The original intention was that all the digested 6 Immortal Thief Treasury had also changed after arriving in this world. The power of swallowing skyrocketed. Damn, I will really die. The skeleton who had chosen to pretend to be dead, the moment Ryuichi opened his mouth, the alarm bell in his heart rang frantically. Dare to pretend to be dead for a moment, so he yells quickly. My lord, give a chance. Chapter 9. My lord, give me a chance. Skeleton no longer looked like the gloomy look before, was grasped by Ryuichi like a toy in his hand, and could only make a weak beg. It can feel that the young boy who is less than 18 years old behind him, Jujutsu, which is revealed at this moment, is exactly the kind of people like himself. Natural enemies. Oh, I'm not dead yet. Ryuichi glanced at the skeleton with a faint smile, his hand suddenly increased. He only heard a sound of click, and there was a slight crack on the skull that was originally as white as jade. The weak curse power emerged from the crack, but it was swallowed by Ryuichi in the blink of an eye. Ah, how can it hurt so much? I feel so painful that I have already been abandoned. The skeleton cried out in pain, and the ghost fire in his eyes trembled frantically. He really didn't understand that the soul he had stored in this body had obviously been abandoned by the senses, but now, that kind of deep and terrible pain instantly flooded the depths of his soul. Make him almost crazy. The crack in the bone seemed to have left a deep mark on the root of his soul. That is despair that is far more tormented than physical pain. Sorry, I haven't mastered my strength, but you shouldn't mind it. Ryuichi looked at the skeleton in front of him with an apologetic smile, raised his eyebrows, and raised the corners of his mouth, like a shy boy next door, feeling guilty about something. However, Skeleton understood this young man. At this moment, there is no slightest apology, but a deep banter. The skeleton's hollow eyes flashed with ghost fire hardly. Enduring the intense pain that was almost carved into the bones, he said in a somewhat flattering tone. It's okay, my lord, of course I won't mind. The strong talk about dignity, the weak only seek survival. Skeleton thought of the countless untouchables, who knelt down in his hands and begged for mercy. He wanted to kill those guys just to extract curse power and trample on their dignity and soul. And now, in front of this terrifying man, he is also like the untouchables, in his words. Like a mourning dog, wagging its tail and begging for mercy. Hee hee. Ryuiki chuckled, turned around and sat on the sofa, placing the skull on the guest table. The silvery eyes were a little joking. Whispered. From the beginning of the construction site, I felt that there were chores following me, but I didn't expect all of them to follow me at home. Let's talk about it. What is your purpose? Ryuiki clasped his hands together, pressed his chin on it, and stared at the skeleton in front of him scorchingly. Translucent blue power is constantly floating around the body, slowly absorbing the curse power of that thing. After 6 Immortal Thief treasury progressed to 10%, he could already absorb the spell power through his breath, without opening his mouth like before, but some tricks still needed to cooperate with the action. We have no malice against adults. We just want to ask them to help repair a cursed tool. With the abilities of adults, it must be done by hand. Skeleton didn't dare to neglect the slightest. He didn't fear the death of this cursed body, but the pain that went deep into the soul was too unbearable, and he really didn't want to taste it a second time. Repairing the cursed tool. Interesting. Repairing the cursed tool is a thankless task. No matter how the damaged cursed tool is repaired, the internal curse will not be complete and its power will be greatly reduced. Ryuiki rubbed his chin and leaned against the sofa in a comfortable position. The resources and effort required to repair a cursed tool are enough to reforge a cursed tool. Generally speaking, after the cursed tool is destroyed, no one wants to repair it. But there is an exception, unless the cursed tool is. It's a special grade cursed tool. A special grade cursed tool that has been passed down for thousands of years. Skeleton felt the impatience hidden in Ryuiki's tone, and said quickly. The wildfire is like a bird with a frightened bow. It's interesting. Do you understand the rules? Suddenly, Ryuiki sat up straight, with his hands flat. His eyes were not as lazy as before, like a lion who had been awakened all the time, and his eyes were bright and violent. Skeleton was horrified to realize that his curse body was being swallowed by curse power quickly, and the dark blue curse power was being swallowed by some invisible terrible monster. We understand the rules. Your request. Whatever you say. Skeleton put his posture extremely low, cursing secretly in his heart. Damn bastard. Waiting for you to come to the base. I have 100 ways to kill you. Damn bastard. You are a bastard too. Hey, interesting, you have only a small part of the soul in this mantra body, but you have your own consciousness. It's really a novel jujutsu. Ryuiki said this. Skeleton only felt as far away as the main body of Osaka, and his back felt cold. How is it possible? How did he know? My jujutsu should not be able to see through. 3 first-level cursed spirits. No matter what the skull thinks, Ryuiki spoke out the other party's secret lightly, and then stretched out 3 fingers. Yes. Skeleton responded without hesitation. The 3 first-level cursed spirits are not difficult in their organization, and when they reach their own realm, it is his turn to go wild. So he responded directly. Don't worry, and that is, how can you come empty-handed when you come to visit? I accept your gift. Gift? What gift? Skeleton eyes watched Ryuiki's mouth with a wicked smile, and a trace of badness rose in his heart. Chapter 10. The next moment, a burst of invisible power burst out of Ryuiki's body, and that power slightly distorted the surrounding space. A strange business was formed in the room because of the compression of the air. Woo. Do not. The horrible devouring power surged like a huge wave, instantly engulfing the skeleton's consciousness, and the soul was torn into countless fragments at the moment. It's really disgusting. Ryuiki frowned slightly and picked up a bottle of Coke on the table as if to rinse his mouth. Ask yourself to fix the cursed tool. If Ryuiki believes it, he won't be worthy of today's strength. If it weren't for his own strength and ability to restrain that skull. I am afraid that the current self has long since become a prisoner of that guy. Sure enough, no matter which world you are in, only strength is the unique authority. Ryuiki, as he said, is very lazy and hates trouble, so he will only use the simplest method to solve the trouble. The original jade white skull had been drained of its curse power, and only a puff of pale white dust remained. A gust of breeze blew through the window, and the smoke disappeared instantly, and the dust was wiped out. It's as if it has never appeared before. But for some reason, Ryuiki just feels that his mind is a little clearer than before. It is as if the human souls who were tortured and killed by this skeleton were blessed on his body. 3 first-level cursed spirits, it's worth a trip to Osaka. It's been a long time since I went back. The first-level cursed spirit will hardly be born in this small place like Shan's. For the sake of 6 immortal thief treasuries progress, he doesn't mind going to the base of that mysterious organization. It's not that he didn't think that the other party was deceiving himself. After all, the first-level cursed spirit said more, said less. To be able to catch the cursed spirit alive, it also requires certain means. He was also not sure if the opponent had the strength and means, but it didn't matter. If the opponent can't take out the first-level cursed spirit, a seemingly large organization that sucks up all their curse power is enough to withstand the progress provided by the 3 first-level cursed spirits. As for the opponent's strength and what kind of curse teacher is hiding, he doesn't care at all. Just like Gojo Satoru said. He is unrivaled. Ryuiki leaned back on the sofa again, lazily, as if not awake. The finger inadvertently crossed the pendant on the neck. As if recalling something bad in the past, a tyrannical trace flashed very vaguely in his eyes. Zenin, I hope you don't provoke me. At the same time. Somewhere in the underground of a supermarket in Osaka. Ah, how dare he! In a dark secret room, suddenly there was a roar. The voice was full of resentment, and a creepy hoarseness. It was like a rotten sound made by the friction of 2 worn-out iron plates. In the darkness, a pale flame burned faintly. Illuminate everything around. Not only did this flame not bring any warmth to the darkness, on the contrary. With the appearance of this flame, everything around became more gloomy and cold. In that paleness, countless painful faces appeared constantly, and it seemed that countless souls were being continuously burned in the flame. There will be no peace forever. Old guy, why are you crazy? A young boy's voice slowly sounded. With a bit of sarcasm. The moment the voice fell, the pale demon flame skyrocketed instantly, suddenly illuminating all the surroundings. The darkness disappeared in an instant. But a scene more terrifying than darkness gradually unfolded. Pieces of human skins were randomly spread on the walls of the secret room, and countless weird curses were intertwined with each other. Countless heads are piled up like a mountain, forming small hills, scattered white bones, and pave the floor with an extremely absurd beauty, like a very evil picture scroll in hell. Obviously, it is a very small secret room. At the moment, it is as empty as a wilderness. On the highest mountain, a man shrouded in black robe trembled unconsciously. Although it was only part of his own soul, that kind of pain was indeed synchronized to his body in the same way. He had long forgotten what it was like to feel pain, and now he trembled not only because of the sharp pain of the tearing soul. What makes him even more unacceptable is, he actually. I felt it in that ignorant boy. Fear, the kind of emotion that he has forgotten for not knowing how long, and deeply disgusted by him, resurfaced again. My avatar curse body was killed. Anyway, you have 9 clones. If you die, you die. On the side of the head mountain, the man in a white kimono wears a fox face mask and his tone is not stingy. Continuous bursts of white magic flames appeared on his body. All show that he is powerful. I will eat him alive. I will eat him. Woo, woo. Countless evil spirits emerged from behind the people in black, groaning constantly, as if they were telling what kind of misfortune they had encountered. The man's voice seemed to be squeezed from between his teeth. The tone was a wounded lone wolf, tyrannical and crazy, and the surrounding air was stained with a killing air, setting off this gloomy space like a dungeon. Okay, as long as he fixes the grass pheasant sword, the rest is up to you. But, the Zenin family would let such a genius go out of the house, it's really unscientific. The fox-face boy gently wiggled the long sleeves of the kimono, and his eyes hidden behind the mask revealed a hint of playfulness. No matter what, the resurrection of Lord Baki is more important than everything. Zenin Ryuiki, don't let me down. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.